Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for returning for another episode of Books and Buds, where we discuss two of the greatest things God brought to planet Earth: books and buds. So, on today's episode, we're going to be discussing a wonderful follow up to A Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. This book is titled The Mermaid's Chair. We'll be getting into it in a minute, and I'll be telling you why I enjoyed it so much in a minute. But first, I'd like to bring up a couple things. Last episode, we didn't have our logo flipped, so it was backwards. Also, the title of the book, Richard Lehman's book that we discussed, was also flipped. So I asked a friend to help me out with that. He showed me the right way to do it, so hopefully that won't be an issue anymore. If you do have anything else, any other suggestions or any complaints, feel free to leave them in the comment section. We'll do our best to get to them because we want to have an easy viewing pleasure as possible for you guys. So today we'll also be discussing a little bit of Bud, but we mostly stick to books. Books like this one that are relatively unknown. Her first book, Secret Life of Bees, was turned into a movie. It was a New York Times bestseller. But The Mermaid's Chair didn't get as much attention as we feel it deserves. So we'll be discussing that. That's what we do here. We try to bring attention to books that we feel deserve a little more respect. So while we're talking about it, I'm going to be rolling up a few joints here because we have some patients, some veterans suffering from PTSD. And we just roll joints and just give them to them. Sometimes give them to them in little baggies. They can just have it for free. Last month, we gave away over a pound of free medical marijuana because at Burning Bush, Books and Buds, we feel that, honestly, the best feeling in the world, better than smoking the best cannabis in the world, better than reading the most wonderfully written book ever, is the feeling you get when you give to others. And the universe recognizes that because you're a part of the universe. So when you give to others, you feel great. And the better you feel, the more of that the universe just brings right back to you. So if you take anything else away from this episode, just please remember to do good for others. It'll always come back around you. It's just a great thing. So Sue Monk Kidd's first book, The Secret Life of Bees. It was a wonderful, wonderful book. I found it as a thrift store find. I just liked the cover. I read the back blurb. It was wonderful. I said, all right, I'm going to give this a try. It was only $2. And it was a fantastic book. I loved it. It was historical fiction based in the Deep South during the civil rights movements when white people and black people could have got along a little better, but they didn't for whatever reason. Now, as much as I love those books, I feel like they've been kind of done to death a little bit, and I think that's why it got the attention it did, because people people still want to read about that kind of thing. You don't want to forget history, or else you're doomed to repeat it. But at the same time, I feel if you cling to the history too much, it's kind of like clinging to a life preserver where you're focusing too much on surviving. Therefore, you're not really able to see the lifeboat coming along the other side of the horizon. So it's important to focus on the good things in life too. You know what I'm saying? So that's what brings us to The Mermaid Chair. The Mermaid Chair was completely unique. It was based in the South, but that's about the only thing it had in common with The Secret Life of Bees. In this book, Sue Monk Kidd decided to introduce us to a woman, a middle-aged woman. She has a young daughter that's already in college and everything else, and life is getting a bit humdrum. Well, she receives a phone call one morning. It's her mother's best friend. And her mother lives on the island that the main character grew up on. And she vowed never to return to this island again because her father had a terrible boating accident that she feels responsible for, because for his birthday one year, she gave him a lighter to light his favorite pipe with. And of course, at Burning Books and Buds and Burning Bush, we approve of pipes. So, unfortunately, the guy had a terrible accident. It was because he used the pipe on his boat, and his boat exploded as a result of it. And she just felt terrible guilt ever since and hasn't returned. But now she's forced to return because her mother is cutting off her fingers. And, of course, the husband's a psychologist, and he's got an answer for everything. But the daughter still wants to go out there and see what the problem is because, I mean, there's always something more. You know what I'm saying? Science can't explain away everything. So she goes to the island. She goes and she meets up with her mother. And while she's there, she ends up meeting a monk who lives at the monastery on the island. And after a while, she falls in love with this monk. And, of course, it's a nice twist in the story. It doesn't really have that much relevance as to the Mermaid Chair. The Mermaid Chair is just a chair inside the chapel. on the island. You can sit in and ask for redemption or whatever, just apologize to God, kind of repent, you know what I mean? Ask for guidance. So the monk helps her find out what's going on with her mother. Now, her mother, it turns out she was cutting off her fingers due to some folklore where a prostitute, I believe in biblical times, was cutting off her own fingers as a way to repent to God for her sins. So that's what the mother's doing. Now, I don't want to tell you why the mother was doing it because it relates to the girl's father. It relates to, it pretty much, I don't want to give away the ending. But the book was just so unique that I felt it deserved a lot more respect than it gets. My only complaint is that I think she was trying to fill the pages a little too much. I believe that Sumont Kid used a little too much prose. Now, as a writer, I love the hell out of prose. I try to use it in my own work. My own book, Corpse Lily, is coming out soon from Rhetoric Askew Publishing, who are some authors I will also be reviewing on this channel shortly. But sometimes I felt that she was using a little too much prose, so I felt that she could have maybe shortened this book by maybe about 50 pages, but that's just my opinion. I don't think it took away from the story. I just think she could have really chopped it up a little bit. That's my only complaint, though. It was a great book, great read. The dialogue is key. The prose is beautiful. Just a little too much of it, like I said. So I'll try to leave a description for the book in the description, a link to the book in the description below, along with all the other places you can find me, Burning Bush. That's about it for today. If you have any comments, if you have any books you'd like to suggest, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you have any more complaints about the channel, how we can do better, please let us know that too. We are Books and Buds. Thank you for checking in, and it's always good to see you. Once again, we love you, and thank you for tuning in.